Okay.
I hope you have a lens cap on.
Yeah, no, no. Nope, every once in a while it likes to go into rest mode, and so just learning the camera. But so if you could, I'm sure you found yourself in line or hearing stuff. You hear people knocking people that are homeless, or especially if you've gone, you've had to go as far as sleeping out there, and you're embarrassed and all this stuff, but you don't feel like maybe you can stand up and say something because a lot of times the wind's knocked out of you and your self-esteem is down and you feel like this is not me what I
And this
pictured
is
for
what I
myself.
deserved. And,
I was raised like, great, and I didn't have, terrible memories. I mean, a lot of homes have a lot of the same kind of history, so it's not like it's un-American. But so now, when you hear that stuff, and it hurts. So what do you want to say to people that are ignorant and say that all homeless people are dirty, and say, well, what do you want to say to them?
Well, oddly enough,
and you tell them.
I was on Facebook, and I hadn't told anybody on Facebook that I was homeless, because it was just like I would get to a Wi-Fi and I'd spend a few minutes and I would not be homeless. I'd be the same person that's been there for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And the two of them got to talking about how stinky homeless people were. And I finally couldn't hold my tongue anymore. I said, look, I'm homeless. I've been homeless for a month, and I am neither dirty. I'm not a thief. I am not a bad person. I'm not drunk. I don't do drugs. I'm just, you get into that box at the bottom and trying to grasp anything to help yourself up is unbelievably difficult, because every small thing that you want to do to make your life better comes with all these complications. Nothing is ever just get a job. No, it's you've got to find a way to a job. You find a way to a computer to look for a job. And then if you get the job, how are you going to get back and forth? And if you do get back and forth, how do you get clothes? And do you have ID? No, you probably don't.
Right.
Because $15, while not a lot to other people, is a fortune to me. And I didn't have it. So every single thing that you try to do to make things better is so endlessly complicated that it's easy to give up. And I wonder how many people that are homeless now started just like me.
Right.
And they weren't thieves, and they weren't bad, and they weren't drunk, but they just got really tired.
Yeah.
And then they gave up.
And that's right here in Wichita. And
there are so many homeless people that you guys don't know about. At night, they are everywhere. They are in every shadow, and all the porches, and behind buildings, and the city has not counted even close to how many there are.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that we have such limited news coverage. I've actually spoken to, I'm not going to say their name, but I had spoken to an editor of a certain newspaper. And I asked, why don't we hear more about what's going on in our city other than a quick fluff piece or a car accident that you never hear what happened when that went on, or a drive-by, but you don't even hear about that. And when you suddenly discover, because you're working on, like for us, we're working on a project, but then you suddenly discover this whole world that no one's told you about, because in the Midwest, in Wichita, you think everything is in the big cities, in Chicago and Los Angeles and Detroit and New York and all that. And then so your mind is that guy that was on Facebook that used to be a radio announcer holding the sign, and there's a lot of that here too. But the thing is, that's why we're so glad that you're sharing your story, because you're a grandma. You're a good grandma. You're not a drug addict. You're not an abuser. You're not mean, and this is just what happened right now. But the thing is, the good part is because you have control now. No one's controlling you. You have total control. So you get to go out and make a difference. And you get to show people that you are going to be on your own. You will be working. You will be feeling good when you greet people at work coming through, because you're probably Miss Friendly. I bet everybody, I could just see you're, hey. And they'd have no idea that you're down here. They're going to think you're at home making cupcakes for the grandkids. And so the last thing is
There's one more thing I want to tell you.
Okay.
The first 3 weeks that I was here, I saw 2 dead bodies. After going my entire life without seeing a dead body, and I don't know if they ever got reported on the news. There was one in front of Open Door, and there was one over just right by the Interfaith Inn. I don't know because I was not in contact with TV, or I didn't see TV. I don't know if either of them, but it happens all the time, and I don't think there's any coverage over it.
Now, I think the most we've heard probably in the last 6 to 9 months is there's a body found in the river. A body in the river, a
That
body
was
in the river.
somebody I didn't even know, but these other
Yeah.
2 people were people that I'd seen.
Yeah.
And
That's so sad.
while they weren't friends, they were people I'd said hey to when I walked by. And
Well,
yeah.
And speaking of Facebook too, that's where everybody does all this positive messages, don't be judgmental, and then the next minute they're making fun and talking about
and
it.
the police hate you. I can remember standing in Quick Trip, and I was just shocked because it was one day I was a middle-class grandma who the police would smile at and tip their hat. And literally a day later, I'm trashed because I'm over at the Quick Trip on Central and Broadway, and I'm probably a hooker. And when somebody assaulted me, they thought it was probably my John.
Wow.
And this, in the space of a day, it's almost too much to bear. Because you think, I've become a non-person in one day.
And so now you're working to
I'm
pull the bootstraps up and say, I am someone.
But I think everybody needs to really kind of, instead of painting us all with the same brush, I think it's just like everybody else. We're all individuals, and some of us are really bad. Some of us have gotten bad, and some of us aren't bad at all. And you can't judge everybody by the worst that you see.
So how can they help? Do they need to be helping before this even happens, or?
Well, I think the critical shortage is housing, and you can deny the homeless all you want, but they have to take them in the hospital, and sometimes they will go to the hospital because they're cold.
Yeah.
And I had to go to the hospital because it was so hot and I was so dehydrated that I needed fluids. And this happened to almost everybody I know at one time or another. And it would be cheaper for Wichita to house these people than to pay those medical bills all the time. Many, many, many thousands of dollars. So you've got a place to eat in Wichita if you're homeless. If you go hungry, that's your own fault because everybody will feed you. But there's no place to live for these people. And I don't care what kind of people they are. Everybody needs a little place to live.
Right. That's right.
And it's going to be cheaper for everyone in the long run to do that. That's really...
Well, you know what? You did an awesome job. You did really good. And I'm really, seriously very proud of you, and I want to hug.
Wait, let me stand up.
You're fine. You're so brave. And this isn't going to be forever.
No, I'm scared shitless most of the time. I'm not that brave.
No, but if you think about it, you're kind of whisked out of there. You're in a safe spot. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but then you start worrying about, what if they take my safe spot away? That's what I do. That's what I worry about.
But if you just keep worrying about it, then you just add to it. But I want to let you know, we're going to invite all you guys out to, shut that off to give it a rest.